So we're talking episode 4 of HBO Run. They're back on the train, which I wasn't looking forward to, but we got Fiona in the mix. She's looking for the money. Billy is finally telling Ruby a little bit more about his past. We're talking about that and much more. Episode 4 of Run was titled Chase. Back on the train, Ruby seeks guidance from her new friend and gets a wake-up call from home that leaves her shaken. Meanwhile, Billy continues to lie about Fiona, who raises the stakes to get what she wants. Hey, what's going on, everybody, and welcome back to Movie Files. Elliot back again with my weekly review for HBO's Run. We're talking about episode 4 in this spoiler discussion. Before we dive into it, as you all can see on the screen now, make sure you follow me on all my social media accounts. If you're new to this channel, definitely subscribe, hit that bell so you don't miss any of my new content. Make sure you give this video a thumbs up. Really helps out the channel, but I also really appreciate it. And let me know what you guys thought of this latest episode. Are you like me and finally seeing the story kind of unfold and getting excited to where things are headed, or are you kind of just like, I'm done with this show? Let me know what you guys are thinking up to this point of this show thus far in the comments below. So I can definitely say, starting off with the positives, the last two episodes, episode 3 and episode 4, have been a lot better than the first two episodes, and that's typically a case with TV shows. The first two episodes have to find its grounding. They have to build a bit of a foundation. You're still learning about the situation, the characters and all that. And as the season progresses, you meet the characters more. You learn more about the backstory. You figure out where the story's kind of headed. So that's definitely somewhat been the case so far, but let's talk about episode 4. First and foremost, we get a couple things answered that I had mentioned last week. You know, we saw when Ruby was getting married to Lawrence, there was that moment that she had before the wedding that she texted Run, and I was just curious, like, why didn't he respond? Did she not take any offense to that? But we saw that, you know, and she still hasn't asked him, why didn't you not respond? But we see on his end that it was Fiona that saw the message as he was doing one of his conferences, which that was another thing I want to see, like a little bit of backstory with them and how they kind of operate. And we got that moment, but we saw that she saw the message and deleted the message. So at that point, you're kind of assuming that Fiona and Billy have had a conversation about Ruby and this whole pact that they created, and we even see that much so. And there was a clip where we see Fiona showing Billy, like, him recording something, telling, I believe it was either Fiona or a group of other people about his next book, about him and his ex-girlfriend, which was Ruby. So there were questions that I had and that I questioned last week that were brought into this episode. I wasn't the biggest fan of them getting back on the train because I feel like the train kind of kept the story from growing, kind of moving forward, but I don't think we'll be on the train much longer after Fiona kind of still plays, you know, the cat and mouse game with her being Alice and befriending, Ruby, and I'm glad that didn't last much longer because that would have got a little stale, a little bit old, but I'm glad that it looks like the show is now putting the pieces together, right? I'm still not a fan of the characters so far in this episode, and this might sound bad, but I'm so glad that the kids are now in the mix, because if I was Lawrence, again, this might sound terrible, but I would have used the kids as like a way of kind of getting my wife to answer some questions, get back home, what's going on. I'm glad that they kind of brought that in the mix, because again, that's one of the things that I'm not the biggest fan of so far, is just like, we don't know. We're assuming that Ruby left her husband and responded to Billy because she's not as happy in her life as she thought she would have been. You know, she's at a position now where she's, might have been married to Lawrence, probably happy, at some point, happy with her life, but then things just get stale, repetitive, and she just wants a way out, potentially, and that could be Billy. And then we don't really know exactly, outside of what Billy said, that he left the conference and said what he said in this episode, calling everyone a certain name and running out on his, that whole big conference that he had. But then there's still something there with Billy in regards to what he, even Fiona said it, that you didn't tell her exactly why you texted him. So there's still some mystery about Billy. But what I liked about this episode, it was just like, she does care about her kids, and I don't know where she is with Lawrence, but and that's just another thing. Like, again, the characteristics of these characters, I just don't think, a mom or dad or anyone, a parent should be leaving their kids. Marriages don't work out, and that, that is kind of the case with, people getting married. They just like the idea of marriage, but not really the being in a relationship and building something with someone. They just like the idea, but when it comes to just, leaving your kids, that's a whole nother story. So it's just so hard for me to kind of root for these characters in a sense. Again, I get what she's going through, and they even brought up this idea that she's had a breakdown before. Lauren says, "Are you having another breakdown?" So there has been moments within their relationship that she's had little moments like this potentially. So that'll be interesting to kind of explore. But again, I'm just having a hard time to really kind of root for these main characters because both of them don't seem to make the best decisions, and they're doing, again, with Billy, what we know so far about Billy, that's terrible what he did and said to that woman, and obviously he's a fraud, and has been a fraud for most of his career. And then again, with Ruby leaving her family, leaving her kids, it's just so hard to kind of root for them, right? But moving forward, I am excited to see them get off this train because I'm not a fan of the train storyline. I want them to be off the train as soon as possible. But now that Fiona has the money, what does that mean? Are they going to chase her? Are we going to run into some more characters? Are we going to finally learn out why did Billy text her? Those are the things that's keeping me intrigued with this show thus far, minus the characters being interesting. It's more the story and how they're going to wrap things up and where things are headed. So I've enjoyed these 2 episodes much more than I've done the first 2, but it's still things that I just wish was a little bit more interesting. I wish the characters were more likable. Again, shows don't have to have the most endearing characters or the most likable characters, but if they're your main 2 characters, you want to root for them a little bit, right? So I'm hoping that we can get a little bit more humanity, and at least for me speaking, I just wish I can care for them a little bit more moving forward, as well as, injecting this whole plot with the money and Fiona and why did Billy text Ruby. So let me know what you guys thought of this latest episode. Are you still excited about things moving forward? What would you like to see in next week? And what do you think Fiona knows about Billy and what kind of secrets he's holding from Ruby? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, guys. As always, like, share, comment, subscribe. I'm thinking about maybe doing these reviews like live streams, like watch-alongs. Let me know if that's something you guys want to do next week where we can literally watch the episode together. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. So a lot of content coming this week. I got joint watch-alongs I'm going to be on this week. I have my own watch-along this Saturday for Friday the 13th. Ton of reviews for TV shows and movies, so keep an eye out for all that content. Make sure your notification bell is on, but also check the community tab because I put a lot of my upcoming videos and all that stuff in the community tab on my YouTube channel, so make sure you keep an eye out for that. But again, guys, thank you for watching this review, and we'll see you soon.